Hello and welcome back to another episode of Steps into the Unknown. It's been a minute, a lot of things going on. I had a lot of military exit appointments and all that fun stuff. But after about a month, pretty much, we are back with our trips from the Queen Mary. Uh, Pretty good time there. Can't complain. It's there is a. It seems like a little bit of a price point. 'Cause I think it's how much was the total?
Like 160 maybe for two. For we did the paranormal ship walk tour, which was in the evening time. It started at 7, I believe.
Mm.
There's two time slots, but the evening ones are a little bit more expensive. But you get to spend the entire day there, so you can just walk the ship and do whatever up until like your tour time.
Mm.
So that was really good. So I think it is worth it
Mm.
for that money.
So that cost is worth it for sure, and it's cool. Just besides the paranormal part, just to walk around a major historical ship because it definitely played a part during World War II in transporting injured people back and forth and dropping off troops in Europe, and then it was a regular cruise ship also. It actually was bigger than the Titanic, is what they were telling us. So pretty cool. So the biggest thing there is when we were there, they actually have excellent food,
Yes.
which it's most of the time when you get to more on the more pricey side of food, you it tends to be not a lot of food. It's a very small amount because you're paying for the experience or whatever. And this was not. This was actually, yeah, it was really good food and kept you plentiful where you didn't have to order a whole bunch. So I think it ended up being about 100 for the two of us,
And
but it
we
was
yeah, we ate a lot.
it was well worth it though. So.
Yeah, and then there was like ice cream
Hmm.
and desserts at like different places because they have a lot of
Hmm.
different places to eat on the ship. So it was definitely for like I think we spent about 7 hours there, like a full day.
Hmm.
We did. So we did eat a couple of times, and in between we had like the desserts and everything. So yeah, between us it was like $100, but it was well worth it, and the food was phenomenal. The service was really good.
So they do give you a map. It's when you get there, which is why it's preferable if you're doing any of the tours and you kind of want to explore on your own. Go ahead and get the map and kind of walk around and all that stuff like that because the tours are really good. But the problem is you're with other people, so you might not be able to do your own investigation and just your own sightseeing without the influence and bothers of the other people there. So that's what I would recommend is get there early, spend a whole day there, and it'll be a good time. It goes by fast. So, um, as far as the actual paranormal tour, it was very good. A lot of information. I can't say we didn't really feel too much for the most part. We'll get into the goodies, but the for the most part, it's just really interesting learning about all the history and the sightings and all that fun stuff like that. So the one interesting part that we unfortunately weren't able to capture because it's always the good stuff always happens when it's
Unexpected.
unexpected and spur of the moment. So there's a part where there is a little girl that supposedly haunts in the pool area. So as we were exiting there and we're heading back up the stairs, I was walking behind Anna and I noticed it looked like a receipt had fallen out of her purse, but instead of it just regularly dropping like this, it kind of went like floated like shh, shh.
Like it was being, I guess, plucked out
Mm-hmm.
of my purse
Mm-hmm.
and dropped. So backtracking a little bit to that, before we had went into the pool area, and this was on the tour. This is not when we were walking by ourselves during our own tour, because when you're by yourself, it's closed to the public. But when you're on the paranormal tour, they take you down into the trenches of the ship, and then they open it up and you get to see what the pool looked like. So prior to that, before we went in there, I was digging in my purse for candy. And we were told about this little girl after they had taken us to the pool area. So I guess she heard the word candy, got excited. So from what we conclude is that, she was probably digging in the purse looking for another piece of candy. So I had no idea. Joel had to tell me because after we were done with the pool and everybody was exiting and we were walking up the stairs, and like you said, he was behind me and my purse was on my shoulder, and he saw how a receipt
Mhm.
in my purse just lifted up, went to the side, and dropped. And like he picked it up and he's like, "Here you go." And I had no idea. I didn't feel anything. That it obviously like from my purse, but
Mhm.
and then we put the two and two together. It must have been the little girl.
Yeah,
Should have
because
heard the candy.
after we had went upstairs, because the biggest thing with any paranormal investigation or especially tours is if anything happens. I mean, obviously, if it's audio or something like that, then everybody hears it type thing. But if anything happens, it's best to kind of keep it to yourself and not sensationalize. Um, so we kind of kind of stayed quiet about it, and then afterwards we pulled the tour guide aside and we said, "Hey, this is what happened. This receipt looked like it was plucked out of the purse, and it looked like the little girl was trying to locate candy or whatever in there." And the tour guide actually said, he said, "Oh, well, we used to have a practice that people would go in there and they would leave offerings of candy in the pool area for the little girl."
Yeah.
So it kind of, put two and two together.
Yeah, and none of that was mentioned. He didn't mention anything about leaving candy or tokens or anything like that while he was letting us explore just like the pool area. And what I mean by explore is like you're in like a certain room and you could just see the overview. You cannot go further.
Yeah.
So we didn't know anything about leaving candy or anything like that. Is at the end of the tour, like Joel said, we had found the tour guide and we had let him know our experiences, and that's when he told us about the offerings, pretty much. So it made sense.
So that was about the only thing during the actual tour. But on our own, just walking around hours before the tour, we went to the isolation ward, which is where they would put people that were either stowaways or people that were sick. So
Like infirmary.
they didn't want anybody else to get sick. So basically, they would put these people and also these nurses in the isolation ward, and that's where they would stay. It was toward the front of the ship. So we did capture quite a few very high EMF levels, and the weird thing about that is
That's your book?
EMF goes off of
Yeah.
electrical signals.
Thank
It
you.
goes off of
Can you go back to green, please?
Wi-Fi,
That would
generators,
require you to
anything
get
like
off
that.
Just for a second.
Well, in this part of the ship, there was no electricity,
stop
no
touching it.
interference, nothing like that could have done it. So it was very interesting to be getting
this
Yeah.
device.
intelligent
I mean, because there's no
fluctuations,
reason why it would have that
telling
high,
it,
because there's
hey, can you make
nothing
it
here.
red,
This is wood.
It's just
stuff like
wood.
that.
Can you
So-
make it go
One
away,
of the
please?
rooms that like I had walked into, I immediately
Ooh.
had such a bad
Awesome.
headache
Thank you
to
so
the
much.
point where I felt like physically sick to my stomach, and I left the room right
It's
away.
nuts.
I didn't go back in there. It was too overwhelming for me. Joel didn't feel anything, but me, I don't know. Instantly, I was like woozy. I just saw like white.
Yeah.
And I think also so this was before the actual tour. This is us walking around. But just jumping ahead a little bit, when we did go on the tour guide did take us in there, and Joel and I already did our own investigation, so we didn't go back in. We let everybody else go. But we were able to speak with the tour guide, and before I even said anything, he was like, "Oh, you guys don't want to go in there?" We're like, "Oh, we already explored that on our own." And then he said, "Yeah, I don't like that room." He didn't go in. with the rest of the people. He just told them before he let them go, and he said himself he gets terrible headaches. That's why he doesn't go in there, and it confirmed exactly what I had felt.
Yeah, as far as in that area, besides the EMF levels, it's we heard disembodied footsteps walking toward us.
Oh yeah.
Not loud stomping, but it was definitely loud enough where we was like, oh, those are, shh, quiet. That those are definitely footsteps coming down the hallway toward us, and
we got confirmations on
yeah.
our names.
Yep.
Our names are not that common, so we were using the spirit box, and we introduced ourselves as usual every time we go somewhere. And we just asked if anybody's there, if they can hear us, and if they could just say our names back. And instantly it was my name first, and then a few moments later they said Joel.
Mm-hmm.
So we knew that we were speaking with intelligent spirits.
Yeah, and I did run into one cold spot, and also I had my back to one of the main rooms where a lot of the patients were. Where they would be bedridden, and nothing was captured on camera, unfortunately, but it felt like someone was standing right behind me. You get that that creepy feeling. So very interested in that part of the ship. The engine room. Didn't you catch a glimpse of someone in the hull of the ship?
Yeah, like a man.
Yeah.
It was just like a dark silhouette of a man. It looked like a man, with broad shoulders. But I didn't feel threatened or scared or anything like that. It was just like, peripheral vision. You just quickly look and then you look forward and it's not there anymore. But I just felt like, they were acknowledging that they are there with us and they're observing us as well.
Mm.
It was a cool feeling.
So then a little bit later, we went to the room that's 340.
B340.
B340, which is the supposedly most haunted room on the ship. And we took well, first I had a reading on my EMF meter at the door, which was about medium level, almost yellow, which is already weird because once again, there's like, there's no there's no electricity around that area whatsoever because EMF meters they work right next to it. They're not going to work like out in the blue like that. So after that, we weren't able to access the room because someone was staying there, but we were able to take some pictures, and a lot of the pictures they're either clear or weird blur for no reason. And one in particular, which if you look at there's the window streaks toward the top, you can tell that there's rays of light going up like this. And also in the middle of the photograph, there is what looks like a yellow, somewhat form of a figure, like he's standing in front of the couch. And that would be about the same height as an adult. And it's going straight down to the floor. So we looked at it, and we try to debunk any evidence we get first. So when we looked at it, it wasn't a ray of light. There's no anything that could have been a mistake through the lens or anything like that. And also in another picture, there's nothing there. Everything's clear. So that was very, very. It's a very weird picture. So we'll throw that up and you can kind of decide. But it definitely looks like I said, a figure of a yellow person standing in front of the couch.
It's
very, very weird.
It's like a torso, I would say, and then where the legs are, it gets like thinner, narrower. So that could be assumed that those are legs, but it literally goes all the way down to the floor. And like I said before, when I take these pictures, I just snap, and there was nothing there. Nothing that I could see with my natural eye when I was taking those photos. So we don't know what that anomaly is.
Yeah.
It was there 1 millisecond, and the very next photo, it's not there. So it was pretty cool.
The other experience we had too is there's a mock-up of what would be like a child care area, and we both just got really bad feelings, like just like, yeah, we should go in there, just the creeps or whatever. And as we moved away, somebody else had said, "Oh, I don't like it in there." So it kind of
Yeah, some lady was just
Yeah.
walking by us, and like she walked so fast. She was with somebody, and she's like, "Oh yeah, I don't like that room at all." And then she just walked like sniffed right by us. So it's it's interesting. Like if you're an empath, um, even if you don't even know that you are, you feel it in your core. Something is off. The energy is heavy. So that's what we got, and it was really cool to not directly speak to anybody else and get those confirmations um, from other people who are like right near us and like saying the exact same thing.
Yeah. That there wasn't. I didn't ever feel threatened or anything there. I more or less just think that any spirits or energies that are there are just moving around the ship. They're just doing their thing.
Their home, their final resting place.
No, and I feel they're kind of used to the tourists and whatnot. So,
I'm sure they find it entertaining.
yeah. I mean, it is a hotel.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, but it's obviously at night it's a lot less active. So I feel that that's when a lot more of activity would come out, because they're people. They're not circus performers. So that's what I would think. And also just generally, a lot of times too, when people say the old like, oh, why don't ghosts show themselves during the day? Well, they do. It's just during the day. Everything's going on. There's cars, there's noises, there's people. At night, everything's a lot more still, so it's a greater chance of being able to experience things because everything's a lot more quiet. There's less distraction and whatnot. So.
And then also, how can you tell that you didn't see somebody?
Yeah.
The people that work there, the tour guides, they're dressed in old-fashioned clothing for that time period of the original maiden voyage. I mean, some have piercings, and then that they're more modern. But our tour guide was letting us know that people have been lost on the ship. The ones who were staying at the hotel, and there were just the workers there would guide them. Oh, you have to go this way, or they would literally like follow me, and they would take them and lead them to the elevators. And then one moment they're there, and one moment they're gone. But they were dressed in that period clothing. So what I'm saying is like, how would you know if you're seeing them, spirits or not? A lot of the times they're not see-through. They're actually speaking to you, and they're wearing the same uniform as tour guides. So you might not even know, and you could see them during the day.
And kind of on the same vein too is I've heard a lot of criticism about the oh, why are all the ghosts in old clothes and old Victorian or whatever? Well, because that's the most noticeable thing. I guarantee a lot of people have seen spirits in their daily lives. They just didn't even realize it because they're wearing modern clothes. If someone's wearing clothes from the late 90s to now, they would look like normal people. So you wouldn't, you would think like, oh, there's a person standing on the side of the road. That's weird. You're not going to think it's a ghost. You're just going to think it's a person. So,
I think that's the misconception. A lot of people think that spirits naturally have to be translucent. Sometimes they show themselves and they're not translucent. They look like you and me. So it's really hard to decipher who's real and who's not.
Yeah.
Sometimes you got to just be open to it.
Yeah, the times I've seen actual apparitions, full bodies, I didn't even act like it was a ghost. I thought it was a person. It was
That's cool.
It was. I remember I was in West Virginia State Penitentiary a long time ago, and we were in the infirmary ward, and it was getting late. So So it's about time to be about 5, 6 in the morning for us to leave. So we were rounding up everybody else that was with us, and I turned and I saw a figure walk across the hall. Clear as day. So I said, oh, I'm gonna go get that person and we'll get out of here. And I went back there and there's nobody. And it's a prison, so it's not like it's lockdown. It's not like you can really go freely explore type places like that, without people noticing you. And there's been other instances too where, I'd be in the bathroom or whatnot, and I would think that someone walked past the door next to me, and I thought it was, Anna or whatnot, and I turned and she was still in the room. So
Wait, here?
Yeah.
In our house? You never told me that.
Yeah,
I
you're
guess
right.
I won't be sleeping tonight.
But yeah, so it's always interesting to. I don't think people realize that they see things without realizing it. Not to say anything's threatening. Obviously, I think most spirits they're just here. They're on a different level of plane existence, and they're not scary remotely.
Some of them
they're
are just
people.
perverts
Yeah,
looking at you in the bathroom.
Yeah, they're just people. They're nothing crazy. But we will. I don't know when the next trip we're going to go on because got some stuff coming up soon with moving and whatever. So, um, but whenever we do, we will upload a new video and talk about it and go from there. Or we might even talk about other instances of serial killers and whatnot.
Yeah, and then we also will get into some of the other places that we have visited when Joel came to see me in New York City, where I lived before, and we went to Litchfield, and we had a really cool experience. Litchfield Village was like a teepee village. We'll get more into that. We'll do like a whole segment, and then we did Kings Park. We'll talk about that as well. Really, really interesting things. And like Phil said, we do have like a big move coming up, but we will take you guys along, and we have a lot of cool things that we do want to talk about, other than like paranormal stuff. But we'll keep you posted, and we appreciate you sticking with us. I know it's been quite a while, but we're glad that you're here, and we'll definitely keep moving forward with this.
Till the next time, y'all stay safe out there and stay spooky.